What he could not have known was that his version of the vampire as an aristocratic, handsome, Byronic hero would spark a trend which would last even to this day. Hi, I'm Esther. I'm a collections trainee here at the Wordsworth Trust this year. Here I have a first edition of John Polidori's The Vampyre, which is also bound with a copy of Byron's poem Mazeppa. John Polidori was a young doctor with dreams of being a writer, and luckily for him, the poet Lord Byron decided to take Polidori with him as he went to the continent as his personal physician. Byron himself was escaping a bit of a scandalous past in England and felt that he didn't belong there anymore. So he took Polidori with him, and together they set out onto what would be a very fruitful journey and a very key time in Romantic history. The pair soon went to Geneva, Switzerland, where they were joined by Percy and Mary Shelley and Mary's stepsister Claire. Claire was fiercely pursuing Lord Byron and had initiated their visit with him. This summer of Geneva, when this meeting of minds happened, is most famous for the ghost story night at the Villa Diodati. This summer in Geneva in 1816 was actually known as the year of no summer because a volcanic eruption in what we now know as Indonesia completely changed global temperatures, keeping the group inside for much of the day. On one particular day, when it was quite a stormy night in the evening, Lord Byron famously suggested that the group should all write ghost stories and read them out to each other. From this suggestion of Lord Byron's, of course, came Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which had already been brewing in her mind for some time. On the same evening, Byron also began writing what is now known as the fragment of a novel, and in this novel he did intend for there to be a character who was a vampire. Polidori became something of a joke, especially between Byron and Shelley, and because of this Polidori was actually quite jealous of Byron. And as Byron had this idea for a fragment of a novel which would include a vampire, this made the cogs turn in Polidori's head, and he ended up writing what is now called The Vampyre. The Vampyre features an aristocratic Byronic hero, which is of course heavily based on Byron. Shelley and Byron did not think much of Polidori as a writer, and they did not see much worth in the novel. So this would have been to Byron's great annoyance that the vampire soon came to be accredited to him. After Byron's scandalous exit from England, of course anything with Byron's name on it was selling. And even as Byron was furiously trying to deny authorship of The Vampyre, and as Polidori was trying to claim it, people still attached Byron's name to The Vampyre. And in this first edition of The Vampyre, the interesting thing about this edition is that it is also bound with Byron's poem Mazeppa. So this is the edition of The Vampyre, and as you can see on the title page, it does just say The Vampyre, a Tale. There is no authorship or credits to Polidori. However, when you do go through the book, you can find the works by Byron. So there's Mazeppa, and there's also Lord Byron's residence and account, and these are both clearly credited to Byron in what would seem like an attempt to make it seem that the vampire belonged to Byron too. Eventually The Vampyre did come to be known as Polidori's work, however this did not lead to a flourishing career for Polidori as a writer, and soon he was in quite a bit of gambling debt and very unhappy, and unfortunately this did lead to his suicide. And although Polidori sadly had this tragic end, what he could not have known was that his version of the vampire as an aristocratic, handsome, Byronic hero would spark a trend which would last even to this day. With his version of the vampire, we have Bram Stoker's Dracula, and even following on that, we have the huge sensation which was the Twilight series as well. And that to me is why the vampire is such a treasure of the collection. These moments in the Romantic history really did shape the Romantic era as a whole. So thank you for watching, and please tune in next week for the next Tuesday treasure.